Job number J-20253418-2. We're accessing the drain through a 4-inch PVC cleanout tee located between the laundry tub and the washing machine. Counter is at 105 feet. We're looking at the connection to the city main sewer. Appears to be a manhole termination. So it would be a cylindrical structure. And we basically have a lateral connection on either end. We can look straight across and see the neighbor's sewer lateral connection from the other side of the road. If we push into the pipe, we can see we have an old clay city sewer. Quite a lot of fracturing going on in that clay city main. You can see as we look kind of down into the trough, as it were, some fracturing happening there. That part of the city sewer would be the city's property. Passing back into the lateral for this property, we are a 6-inch clay lateral. Currently we just see some spider cobwebs at the top. Cobwebs continuing. Likely spiders going in there from the manhole structure. We have a little bit of water flowing from the laundry tub to observe flow characteristics. Our first very moderate root penetration at 90, super small one. Another small root at 89, 88-ish. Root at 86, smaller one. Root at 85, a little bit bigger. Small root at 83, 84. Bit bigger root here at 80, 81, 82. We have probably 80% blockage there. Very large root at 79, about 80 feet. This would be probably 90% blockage, just a small opening in the bottom. Back to back with another very large root blockage at 77. Another root mass at 74, 75. Another root at 74, 73. Root at 71. Small root at 69, very small. Root at 67. Larger root mass here at 65, another one that's probably 80 to 90% blockage. Root at 63. Another very large root mass at 61, another 90% flow restriction. Root at 59. Small root at 57. Small root at 55. Small root at 53. Small root at 51. Medium sized root at 49. Possibly suspect right around here we're entering into the basement. The roots that are hanging in here are possibly from the building cleanout located right by facing the part of the basement facing the street. That roots that are dangling in there is possibly hiding our Y, our cleanout Y. We have a T visible at the top of the screen there. Unknown what that connection is for, either a test T or possibly if the gutters, if the downspouts come inside, might be tying in there, unknown yet. Small root at 42, we're inside the building through this point. Y connection visible on the upper right corner of the screen, possibly from one of the two floor drains, maybe the floor drain closer to the front of the house. We have another root mass here. It's hard to see because there's a bit of a puddle of water. Also, possibly a bit of a dip in the piping forming this puddle. It's certainly not from any debris, but the camera becomes partially submerged as we come forward. So this would certainly be an area that would encourage solids accumulation. Not what we actively had going on today. Active clog was around 75 feet based on where the camera stopped when we initially pushed in. But we do see some roots growing at that joint, and also we have, you can see it on joining in from the right side is a second Y, likely for the other floor drain that's closer to the laundry area. Another very moderate little root tuft here. One last root mass growing, about 14, approaching the base of the stack, so we're right underneath the laundry tub right now. Cast iron, so clay building drain transitions to cast iron coming out of the floor. That's our laundry tub T we can see right there. Transitioning to a PVC clean out. Clean out is next to the laundry tub. Pushed pause to do some extensive targeted root cutting with an expanding blade cutter. We're back out at the city main sewer connection, which is a manhole structure. We can see that now with the camera really clear that the manhole structure is old enough to be a brick, made of brick, and then we tip down and we can see the clay city main sewer that's a bit fractured. and we can see the lateral of the neighbor across the road. Passing back into our lateral, we do see spiral fracturing here, right from the edge on back to 103, and it looks like the bottom of this pipe right here is sort of cracked off and dropped a little bit, but the good news is that it dips in pretty hard here. But we do have quite a bit of pressure cracking on this section. So just making sure that we can see with our video that there is a bit of a ledge here as we step forward, but it looks pretty closely aligned, other than being a little bit of an odd angle. Got a little bit of water running to observe flow characteristics. Remaining root almost cut back perfectly at 90. Root cut back pretty well at 88. Root cut back pretty well at 85, 86. Root cut back nice at 84. Bit of a fracture here at 82. Also root cut back nicely. Root cut back here as much as possible at 80. This was quite a tough one to open up. Quite a thick taproot forming on the top. Our Division 5 will have to review that to see if there's any additional need to target that with the Pecote machine. But 80 feet is a thick taproot there. Cut back as much as we could. Remaining root at 77. Remaining root at 75. Remaining root at 74. And we can see a little bit of a fine fracture happening there off to the right at this joint. Remaining root at 71. Remaining root at 69. Cut back nicely at 67. We'll cut back as much as possible at 65, just a little bit at the top. Roots cut back nicely at 63. Remaining root at 61. Remaining root at 59. Root at 57. There's a root at 55. Root at 53. Root at 51. Root at 49. Also of note, well, there's a T there, likely a capped off T, possibly a test T, or maybe a T that was originally intended for downspouts. 48, 49, this is our building cleanout Y that's been confirmed visually by opening up the cleanout. So we are now under the home at that Y connection. There was some root hanging in here at 47 from the cleanout Y. The hub of the Y has a root penetration that was forming. Possibly may need to be sleeved if we're doing that in conjunction with the building cleanout. Y joining in on the left, 42. Was some root here at 39, cut back nicely. Y connection at 33 for one of our floor drains. Remaining right at 27. Also, we have a little section of pooling water from 27 back to 24, and it's in the middle of a Y junction for our floor drain closer to the laundry. So we do have some puddling water here that certainly could collect solids. Remaining right at 24, cut back nicely. Pipe still appears to be 6-inch clay approaching the base of the laundry stack and kitchen. And right around here there was a ret that's just cut back nicely. Transitioning from 6-inch clay to 4-inch cast iron at the radius. Going up the cast iron stack, base of the cast iron stack. Laundry tub T. Access through our clean out. Concrete laundry tub off to the right.